Hello everyone, my name is David and I'd like to welcome you to my channel and thank you for coming to my channel and spending some time with me. Let me get some things out of the way. I am not an expert. I've never postured or held myself out as being an expert person when it comes to automobiles, but I am an auto enthusiast. All my life I have been fascinated regarding automobiles. I bought my first automobile when I returned from Vietnam in 1968. And for those that know me, know that I've always owned sports cars, muscle cars, and the closest thing I ever came to a truck was SUVs. My first SUV was a 2005, yes, 2005 Lincoln Navigator. And I own a Lincoln Navigator. I've owned a Buick Rainier. I've owned also a Jeep Patriot. And I've also owned a Jeep Grand Cherokee. And that's the closest I ever came to owning anything similar to a truck. I never thought I would ever own a truck. But recently, I decided to go back into the SUV market. I had a 2023 Chevrolet Camaro 2SS six-speed manual. I enjoyed that vehicle. I enjoyed shifting gears and what have you. But I wanted to get back and have myself a nice SUV. I looked at the Tahoe, but I'm a widower and it's just me, so I don't need a third row vehicle. So what I did some research, and there was one vehicle out there that I was really attracted to, and that was a 2025 GMC Hummer. And I went out and talked with a dealership, crunched some numbers, and took the vehicle for a test drive. I normally don't test drive vehicles, but I wanted to see what this thing felt like, and that is a very impressive vehicle. But the problem I had with the Hummer EV, it's more of an off-road vehicle than anything. And that's something I don't do. I've been off-road for 25 years as an infantry soldier, so I don't take delight in going off-road. And they gave me pretty good discount. Matter of fact, there's one dealership was able to come $35,000 off of the MSRP. So then I went back to my Chevy dealer. I've been dealing with this Burlington Chevrolet for about 30 years, off and on. And I saw that they had this 2024 Silverado EV RST. And I drove that vehicle. I looked at it, I did some research on it, and that vehicle was very impressive. But still, it wasn't what I felt that I would probably need and something I would use. I don't think you should buy a vehicle and not get the use out of it. To me, the Silverado EV RST is more of a sport, light, off-road vehicle. And then it had the utility of the midgate regarding being able to bring down the back seats, open up that midgate, and store items in there up to almost 11 feet. I would never have a need for that. It had great horsepower. I think the horsepower was 750, 760, great horsepower, what have you. But and the range, I think the range on the RST was I think it was 440. If I'm correct, I'll correct myself and repost it. And that impressed me because the range on the Hummer EV was just over 300 miles. And I don't, do a lot of driving, but every now and then, I got a place in Virginia, a vacation property. I may want to go to Virginia. I may want to go to the Poconos, what have you. And I wanted an EV that will provide me the ability to go to Virginia and back without having to worry about running out of electricity. So I took the vehicle back and told the salesman, I don't know. I've owned Japanese vehicles, I've owned German vehicles, I've even owned British vehicles, I've owned a Jaguar. But I basically prefer a GM product, something you can fix with a hammer and a screwdriver, so to speak. So then sales guy called me back, say, hey, Mr. Wynn, we got an LT in, and I think this might be something that you'll probably be able to use. And the rest is history. I went out, like I said in the other video that I furnished, I went out, I test drove the vehicle, and I purchased it. I went on with that vehicle that day. The purpose of this vehicle is to let you know why I choose to purchase the 2025 Silverado EV LT over the 2024 Silverado EV RST. We all have different needs, we all are different. So this is based on my likes and my dislikes. But what I want to do first is talk a little bit about the two vehicles and get into what I decided to do. The 2004 Silverado RST and the 2025 Silverado EV LT are both electric pickup trucks. I never owned a pickup, but when I was driving both vehicles, the RST and the LT, and also the Hummer, I felt that I was driving an SUV, but a large SUV. And I owned a Suburban Prestige, and that's probably the largest SUV you're going to get out there, And the only difference is, I think that vehicle weighed maybe 5,000 pounds or 6,000 pounds, but the Hummer and the Silverado EV, these are 9,000 pound vehicles. It's almost like twice the weight, and you know the difference in that weight while you're driving that vehicle, especially when you try to stop the vehicle. And it is a learning curve, and I'll talk a little bit about why I really appreciate what General Motors has done with that regenerative brake pedal they have on both the Hummer and also the Silverado, and I think they have it on a couple of the other vehicles. All right, they both are electric trucks, but the 2025 is a new model that they introduced this year. The first model that came out with was the work truck, the Silverado EV work truck. And then after that, they came out with the most expensive version of the Silverado EV. And I'm told now on my research, they only offer that vehicle once. They're not going to offer it for 2026. I have not seen any 2025s out there. So if you guys have seen one, if you own one, please chime in and let us know how you like that vehicle. So then what they decided to do, they're going to take the the Silverado EV and still have the work truck as the base vehicle. And I believe they have different levels of the work truck that they're going to have. But then they're going to take the LT and have different, like 1LT, 2LT, 3LT, and 4LTs, and have different versions of that model. And I also believe they're coming out with a strictly an off-road electric Silverado. I believe that comes out next year. The 2025 Silverado EV LT also offers a single battery, just like the RST. It has a single battery option that is able to get you up to 408 miles. And that's the vehicle I purchased. I purchased the 2025 Silverado EV LT with the extended range. And I think the normal range is, with the normal battery, is 390, and the extended range take you up to 408, not too far from the 440 with the RST. While the RST comes with two battery pack options, and I believe you have the regular option, and then you have also the max range, which can take you up to 460 miles. Now, that's some engineering, because a lot of people try to stay away from EVs, because EVs in the past were mainly vehicles that you drive around town because there was no range that you can drive comfortably, for any distance over 200 or 300 miles. Here's some of the detailed comparisons between the two vehicles. The 2025 Silverado EV LT, like I said, it's the new trim they introduced this year. It has a lower base price. Now, the 2024 Silverado EV RST, it was discounted some. I got it down to $109,000. The dealership was able to bring it down to like $109,000. But the LT, I'll show you later on some of the numbers that I'm going to share with you. The LT, I believe the base on that vehicle is like $70,000. All right? More affordable. And I see what General Motors is doing. They came out with the RST, and that RST has everything on it. I don't think there are any options for that vehicle. I think everything was on that vehicle, standard equipment. And that's well over $100,000 vehicle, well over $100,000 vehicle, all right? Both vehicles have dual electric motors, all right? Now the Hummer has 3 motors, 2 electric motors in the rear and 1 up front. But the Silverado EV, both versions, the work truck, the RST and the LT have have dual electric motors, and they're all-wheel drive also. The horsepower difference, the horsepower on my vehicle, the LT, is 645 horsepower with 765 pound-feet of torque. This is, I never thought I would own a truck. And I've owned 7 Corvettes, all right? But this truck has more horsepower than any vehicle I've ever owned. And I came this close to getting a C7 Z06, and that's 650. So this vehicle has close to the horsepower of a C7 Z06, 650 horsepower. And granted, the weight, takes away from that horsepower some, but I did the wow, and it doesn't take away from it much. This vehicle will go. It will go. Like I said, the range on it is 408 miles. The EPA estimated range with a single battery charge. All right, a single battery charge. Now I've only owned the vehicle for 2.5 weeks, so I'm going to film another video with a little more detailed experience with the vehicle. I've only charged it twice since I've had it, and I've been to Philly maybe twice. I'm going again tomorrow, and Philadelphia is probably the farthest I've ever driven the vehicle. And what's that, like an hour away where I have to go? It's on the other side. It's not really in Philly. I'm going to Twin Oaks, Pennsylvania, which is, it's not even a suburb of Philadelphia. It's closer to Delaware in Pennsylvania. I'll be making that drive tomorrow. The available LT premium packet. Now, you can get also the premium package, and that adds additional inches. It has a different configuration of well, let me stop right here. I believe the premium package is closer to the RST as far as the amenities and what is available to you with that vehicle. It has like super cruise. I don't think I would ever use that. Matter of fact, I love driving. I've driven all the way across this country. The furthest I've ever driven was I drove from Boston, Massachusetts, out to I went to school in West Texas, to El Paso. And I've made that run a couple of times. I've driven from here to Florida with my family, with the Disney World. And I really love driving. Driving helps relax me. I really enjoy being engaged on the road, being alert, responsive, and what have you. And that's why I bought my 2023 Camaro, because sometimes the automatic will put you to sleep, but that Camaro, you get to be on your P's and Q's. And that's why I don't think I would even use the Super Cruise. Now, some people may want it. I might fall asleep. I'm sorry. I might fall asleep. I really love to be engaged with the vehicle. The 2024 Silverado EV RST is the top, like I said, it's the top trim, as every available option, especially the first edition. I believe that was 2024. I haven't seen any 25s out there, but I've seen one gentleman on YouTube giving a overview of it. But it had every option, and I'm telling you, this vehicle, the tech in these vehicles will blow your mind. I have here 2 battery pack options, including a large battery for long range. I believe that's the one that takes you up to 460. Can you imagine that? 460 miles. That's like driving from here to Virginia, and you're going to stop to go to the bathrooms of them, but you won't stop for gas. You won't stop for electricity. All right. I believe the same thing in my LT. Okay. Now this RST, this thing's a beast. She has 760 horsepower, 785 pounds-feet of torque. And what a lot of them realize, horsepower is okay, but torque, I tell people, torque in the vehicle is the difference between a horse-drawn wagon and a mule-drawn wagon. Mules have more power than a horse. And that's what torque is. Torque is that initial power you need to get that vehicle moving. And then once it gets moving, the horsepower will sustain it to the top end. And that's a lot of horsepower and torque for a truck. Granted, the vehicle weighs almost 9,000 pounds. But trust me, it doesn't feel that way once you get there. Now, I had my first trip to Philly. I normally have radar detectors in my vehicle, and my first trip to Philly, I took the highway, and I looked down. I was doing 90 miles an hour, but it didn't feel like it because the vehicle is quiet and it doesn't bounce around a lot. So I immediately took my radar detector out of my Camaro and I installed it in my Silverado because that horsepower will get that vehicle to move. Available features include a fixed glass roof. Now, I didn't like that. I had a 2013 Corvette Grand Sport 3LT, and it came with two roofs. It came with a clear roof and also a solid roof. And that clear roof reminds me of the same roof you see on the Hummer, the same roof that the top that they had. That's a top they have on the Silverado RST. What I didn't like about it, it'd keep out some sun, but in August, I could not drive that vehicle in August when the temperature's 100 degrees or in the high 90s. It was just too hot inside, and so that's one thing about the RST that I did not like. And I don't think you can option that feature out of the vehicle. So that was a turn off for me also. Um, but the interior, that two-tone leather, that is attractive. You have it's slightly in the LT, but with the RST, the interior layout as far as the tone is very attractive. And also, it has a massive storage bin. Now, the storage bin in the RST and the LT, and I don't know about the work truck, but I know they're the same. I found a secret storage compartment, and then, well, it was a secret to me. Um, the front cup holders have a button you push on, and you can pull that front uh, cup holders, and you got, I think it says it's what, a gallon, a couple of 2 or 3 gallons worth of storage there. Okay, and then you have side pockets on the center console where you can store. There's a lot of storage in that vehicle. All right. The key differences to me. Number one was the price. Number one was the price. And when I'm saying price, I'm also saying also to have accessibility to the federal EV discount. The federal government is giving $7,500 to anyone who purchased an EV, but they capped it regarding the MSRP. And I believe if the MSRP is above $85,000, you don't have uh, you cannot take that federal tax advantage. And also, I live in New Jersey. New Jersey disqualifies you also. But just the MSRP, the MSRP for the RST was well over $100,000. Now the MSRP for the LT was 75,740. That's what this MSRP was. That includes also a destination fee of $2,095. All right. Talked a little bit about the range comparison between the RST and the LT. As we know, the RST offer a greater range and different battery configurations. Okay. The RST comes with more also premium features. Uh, the glass roof, leather upholstery. Now, the upholstery in the LT is not a leather. I don't think it's leather either in the RST. Someone can chime in and bring us up to date with that. But also when I test drove the Hummer, it's not leather. Let me tell you something. Even though it's not leather, I'm impressed with the what they're using. It's like a what they call it a vegan leather. It's a synthetic leather, and I would think that you would want that more so in a truck or in an SUV, especially at children, than you would with leather. And I know how leather wears out, but I've been driving cars before they put leather in cars. I remember we called it pleather. Back in the 60s, uh, you had to do a whole lot of moving around to wear that pleather out. I think the interior, what they're using now is more durable. All right, all you need is a soap and rag and just wipe it down. It is synthetic, but it's more durable. We talked about the power comparisons. The RST with its larger battery gives it, more horsepower. That's almost 800 horsepower. Now the Hummer truck is insane. That thing has over 1,000 horsepower. I asked myself, when will I need 1,000 horsepower in a truck? A truck that I'm not going to use off road. Okay, huh. That's crazy. That's crazy. They both have the RST and the LT has the same towing capacity. Now I'm sort of confused here. I'm reading 10,000 pounds, but I read also somewhere, I don't know if this was the work truck or the LT, but one of the Silverado EVs had a towing capacity of 12,500. That's a lot of weight. That's a lot of weight. That's a couple tons. That's more than a couple tons. All right, that's a lot of weight. A lot of weight. A lot of weight. Now the payload. This is what I can understand. The payload in the LT is greater than the payload in the RST. The payload in the let me get this right. The payload in the LT is 1,440 pounds, and I saw, like I'm saying, I may be wrong, but I saw that the towing capacity is 12,500. I might have confused that with the work truck. I do know the work truck has a little more, even though it has less horsepower than the RST and the LT, but it has a greater um, uh, towing capacity, but not range. The range has been reduced. Now the Hummer truck um, can tow up to 12,000 pounds, and the Hummer truck has 1,300 pounds of payload. All right. Like I said, these are the features I didn't see as a value for myself. First and foremost, my decision to purchase a Silverado EV was based on my need of a daily vehicle that is able to reduce my monthly outlay for gas. Um, I got two performance cars. I don't complain about gas mileage, but there's some property I'm looking at that I want to buy, and I start crunching numbers, and I found a way. If I got rid of my Camaro and bought this vehicle, even though this vehicle costs way more than the Camaro, but I might post it one day and show you what I was paying a month in gas compared to what I'm doing with this vehicle as far as using electricity versus gas to charge and to propel the vehicle. Like I said, I normally drive sports cars and SUVs, but I don't have a need for a third row vehicle. So I decided to go with the either the Hummer or the Silverado, but the LT went out. However, the Hummer was more in line with, like I said, with someone. I don't know. I really I can't say what I believe the Hummer is designed for, but it didn't fit my need. And then the RST to me was similar to the Hummer truck, not the Hummer SUV. It was similar to the Hummer truck, and like I said, that was something I didn't need. I didn't need the midgate. I did not need the glass roof. I didn't need those things. I did not need the air suspension, like raising the vehicle up and bringing it down. I didn't need that. I didn't see where I would need it. Just like the Hummer EV, the 24-inch wheels, those large wheels. But let me explain something to you. I say I'm not an expert, but I've owned a transportation company, and I had customers complain. I had Denali's, and some of them said that the vehicle rode like a truck, and I believe the Denali's came with 22-inch wheels. I took 22s off and put 18s on, and even though you may think the wheel is larger, but there's more rubber on the 18-inch wheel to cushion the ride than there is on those big 24s and 22s. The larger the wheel, the less rubber you have to cushion it. And that's what I experienced when I drove the LT versus the 24-inch wheels on the RST and the 24-inch wheels. No, I'm sorry. The Hummer had 18-inch wheels, 18-inch. But the difference of the ride between the RST and the LT, I felt that the LT gave a better ride, all right, the better ride. And I had it on the normal. You can set your ride level, and I had both set on normal. I didn't set on sport. I had both set on normal. So the LT that I purchased came with the 18-inch wheels, but if you buy the LT Premium, that comes with the same wheels that you have on the RST. But the problem I see with that, the RST also comes with air suspension. I don't know if you can get air suspension. Maybe you can. It would make sense if they're going to give you the same big wheel. They should give you air suspension, because if you don't, it's going to affect the ride. It's going to affect the ride. Four-wheel steering. Once again, that was something I wouldn't need. I drove my Suburban, and the Suburban was almost as long and big as the Silverado EV, and it didn't have four-wheel steering, and I was able to maneuver that vehicle. But I will tell you this: if you're driving a large SUV, if you're driving a large truck, you must be awake. You must pay attention of that vehicle. It's just like you're driving a bus. You're not driving a go-kart. So making a left and right-hand turn, you don't have to swing out, but you want to make that turn later than you normally would, than you're making that turn when you're driving a regular passenger vehicle. All right? I talked about the added ground clearance. That wasn't something I needed. Horsepower and torque. I think the RST has 754 and the LT has 640. I think 640. I think the work truck is what, 540 or something. That's a lot of horsepower. That is a lot of horsepower, because really it's not the horsepower, it's the torque. That torque gets you going, and once you get going, then the horsepower will take over. I think all vehicles, to include the Hummer, they max the top end speed out about 115, 120. I mean, I can't see driving that vehicle at 120 miles an hour. That's like I put 25 years in the Army, and half of the time I spent in the mechanized infantry. I'm not going to be in a M113 or Bradley going 100 miles an hour. You know, that's dangerous. That is dangerous. You know, that's dangerous. And we talked about the Super Cruise, talked about the MSRP. I'm sorry, I said the MSRP was 109. That was the MSRP for the Hummer. They got it down to 109. I believe it was 125 or 130, and they discounted down to 139. The MSRP for the 2024 RST was 97,895. You might well say $100,000. All right, and the one for my vehicle was 75,740. That means the difference between the two vehicles was $22,155. That's a lot of money. You can buy a small car for $25,000. Let's talk about how I use the equity in my Camaro to, I owe very little on that 2025 Silverado EV LT. I mentioned the $7,500 that the government give you for the vehicle. I got the cost reduced on the LT. He was able to bring it down. I think General Motors, the month I bought it, this month, I guess because it's a Memorial holiday, they increased the veterans discount from 500 to 750. All right. So you include the 7,500 I got from the federal government. I got $45,000 traded on my Camaro. Okay. Then the 750 from General Motors. It brought my cost for my Silverado down to $22,490. I jumped on that vehicle. $22,000. I decided to finance it. I may take some money and get rid of the payments, you know, but I decided to finance it. All right. I also show my cars. You look around, you see trophies. I showed my Camaro, I showed my Corvette, and I'm going to show the Silverado. I participate in 3 car shows a year. I take the Corvette out to Carlisle, and I participate in the annual Corvettes at Carlisle. I placed 3 times. I got 3 trophies for that. There's also a gentleman I met on Facebook. His daughter died of an overdose, and he has a car show called Cars for Casey. And I participated twice in that car show. I took the I took the Corvette, and I took also the Camaro. And that's those 2 large trophies over there. And then I've been participating with the Atlantic, it was at Kerbeck. They call it Kerbeck Atlantic City, what was it, Kerbeck Atlantic City something. They had a car show, mainly for Corvettes. But the new dealership, the owners who purchased that dealership, they have a very good car show, and it's mainly for GM products. So I'm going to probably take the Silverado to the Cars for Casey, and also the I think it's the Real Garden State Corvette Club. I think they host the car show and Sioka sponsors it, but those guys, they host it. And it's an awesome car show, awesome car show. And those are the only ones I participate in. I got some people I know every week. They're at a car show. I can't do that. To me, that's like a part-time job. I am retired. I've been retired since 2009 when the good Lord called my wife home to be with him. So that's my plan for this vehicle. So what I'm going to do, I only have like 400. Let me see how many miles I have on it. Give me a second. I like to be exact. I want to say I got 430, 450. But I love this program. This My Chevrolet. Oh, I've had the vehicle for say 2.5 weeks. I got 326 miles on the vehicle. So I'll probably wait to get maybe 1,000 miles. All right, and that should take me well into the summer, and I should have some pretty good trip. I know I got one trip to Maryland. That's in I want to say June. Okay, I want to say June, and I believe we have another trip in July. Yes, and that's in Virginia. Okay, so I got 2 trips going that way, and I should be around 7 to 800 miles, where I've had the vehicle long enough to see if there are any problems. But knock on wood, I don't anticipate any problem with this vehicle. I've gotten, I believe, 2 updates, since I've owned the vehicle, and I really enjoy this vehicle. I really enjoy it. I never thought I would enjoy owning a truck, but I don't really look at this vehicle as a truck. I don't look at it as far as the utility of a truck, mainly because of the safety features, and that's another reason why I bought this vehicle. And I believe the federal government mandated that auto manufacturers put collision avoidance, pedestrian avoidance, even bike. It can distinguish between a bike and a person, lane keep, the lane departure warning, what have you. But one thing I did notice, I'm glad I talked about it. There's one thing I did notice about this vehicle, and I noticed it also with the Hummer, and I noticed it also when I had my Suburban. When you have these high SUVs, even though it tells you when a vehicle is next to you, in this electric Silverado, I had the light come on telling me there was a vehicle to my right, but I couldn't see the vehicle. I think it was a Mini. It was like a little sports car, and I didn't see it until it passed me, and that sort of concerned me because now I keep the lane assist on. Some people think it bothers them. I'm almost 80 years old, so I need a little more help now than I did when I was in the ring with my dukes up. I'm not going to try to fool myself. My reflexes are not as great as they were when I was younger. So what I did, and the next time I do a video, I'll show it to you. They have these small mirror attachments you can put at the bottom of your side mirrors. I put 2 of those on my vehicle, one on the left, one on the right. I don't need it as much on the left because the way I always adjust my mirrors. I tell people when you adjust your mirrors so you can almost see the door handles of the back doors. That gives you a wider view of what's coming up on you. But with this vehicle being up as high as I didn't see Miata. It was a Mazda Miata. It was a little small car. I knew it was over there, but I couldn't see it. I could not see it. So I put these 2 mirrors on there, and I tested the other day. I intentionally slowed down. I saw this small car coming on the right side. So I slowed down, and I wanted him to pass me. And I wanted to see when will I able to see it. Could I see it at the same time the warning on the right went off? It was. I saw the vehicle coming. And that's it. That's the only thing that I've done to the vehicle. Uh, I'm pleased. I got a trip tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to Twin Oaks, Pennsylvania, in the rain. And I didn't know it. This vehicle has automatic rain sensing. I mean, you don't have to turn your windshield wipers on. Same thing with your headlight. If you're driving on the road and there's no cars coming, your high beam come on. You see, and let me tell you that the high beam, it shows you to the next state. And if a car approaches you, it goes from high beam to low beam. There's a lot of tech on this car. A lot of tech. A lot of tech. A lot of tech. Feel free to inbox me. But I appreciate you coming by to hear what the old 3-car guy have to say. My old friend, you guys know him as Ass Griff. He liked to make fun of him and say, when you call yourself the 3-car guy, but you only have 2 cars. I say, Griff, to tell the truth, when I had my limousine company, I had 64 cars. I've had 64 cars. I've had 3 cars. Matter of fact, when I developed this YouTube channel, that's when I had 3 cars. I had a Jeep Grand Cherokee. I had a Mercedes LS 450, and I had a Jaguar F-Type. But I had a hard time keeping up with 3 cars. I sold them off. I sold the Jaguar and Mercedes off, and that's when I purchased my 2023 Corvette C8 hardtop convertible. And that's an awesome automobile also. Hey guys, take care, have a blessed day, and be safe.